first time ever, an object from interstellar space has been observed to visit our solar system.
From amateur conspiracy theorists to the brains behind reputable research institutions like SETI and the Galileo Project, there are many people on Earth who are dedicated to finding evidence that we are not alone in the cosmos. What if, however, intelligent alien life is already observing us and learning about our civilization, yet we have no idea they exist? A recent report from the Pentagon's UFO investigating branch indicates that this is a distinct possibility. A Harvard researcher and the chief of the Pentagon's UFO office have proposed that aliens may have a mothership in our solar system and are sending out little probes they call dandelion seeds to collect data and relay it back about the planets in the solar system. If there are such spaceships, why aren't we aware of them? Why would these spaceships even be sent in the first place? Let's find out. Although it might sound like the premise for a Hollywood blockbuster, Pentagon officials reportedly stated in a memo that aliens may be visiting our solar system from a mothership there. The idea that extraterrestrial motherships and smaller probes are visiting planets in our solar system has been the subject of many a movie over the years. But in this instance, it is a real research report written by Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, and co-authored by Abraham Loeb, chairman of the astronomy department at Harvard University. Although top agency officials don't completely rule it out when questioned, it's uncommon for government officials to acknowledge the idea of extraterrestrial life, particularly those participating in the fledgling effort to gather intelligence on recent sightings. The probes might be likened to dandelion seeds in the paper's comparison, which describes how the sun's gravitational pull could detach them from the parent craft. It looks at the physics of how the smaller spacecraft might travel through the atmosphere of the Earth to the surface, where they might be seen by people. According to the report, the probes could charge their batteries with starlight and use the water on Earth as fuel. It also makes assumptions about why extraterrestrials would deploy explorer probes to Earth. What would be the journey's overarching goal? The probes might spread the sender's blueprint, like real dandelion seeds do. They might use the planet's surface's raw components, including biological seeds, as food for self-replication or just for scientific research. Last year, the Office of Naval Intelligence Task Force that had been investigating UFOs was replaced by the AARO team in the Pentagon. Congress created AARO to act as the hub for the federal government's inquiry into the thousands of reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, many of which appear to execute very complex maneuvers. In the meantime, Loeb has made news lately for claiming that Oumuamua was indeed an alien spacecraft. It appeared on the telescope at Halakal Observatory in Hawaii in October 2017, after emerging from the celestial abyss as a small, brilliant speck. The object, which is tumbling through space at 57,000 miles per hour, is believed to have originated from Vega, an extraterrestrial star located 147 trillion miles away. By the time it was discovered, it had already sped by our own sun, executed a smooth hairpin turn, and was hurtling off in a different direction. It resembled an extended cigar or the shape of an uncannily spaceship-like disk. The name Oumuamua, which means a messenger from afar arriving first in Hawaiian, was given to this cosmic anomaly. The University of Hawaii's Robert Warwick, the astronomer who made the initial discovery, recognized right away from its speed that he was looking at something novel to physics. This was not your typical comet or asteroid. Rather, it was the first ever discovered interstellar visitor from a far-off, unknown solar system. It quickly became apparent that Oumuamua was adequately weird for an object with such extraterrestrial origins. Scientists were particularly fixated on two things. The first was its enigmatic acceleration away from the sun, which was difficult to explain in light of numerous hypotheses regarding its possible composition. The second was its odd shape. According to certain calculations, it was 10 times longer than it was wide. The longest known space objects before Oumuamua were 3 times as long as they were wide. In the years that followed, Rumors abounded in scholarly publications and headlines from over the world. Was it a solid chunk of hydrogen? Could it have been a cosmic dust bunny? A large-scale extraterrestrial counterpart of the hair and debris that are sometimes seen under living room furniture? Or was it a man-made structure created by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, as renowned astronomer Avi Loeb proposed? The possibility that these extraterrestrial travelers, many of whom are assumed to have been roving among the stars for billions of years, would frequently visit our solar system has been raised by scientists for many years. However, despite the fact that hundreds of specialized devices, from the sun-baked Atacama Large Millimeter Array, ALMA, in the Chilean Andes, to a snow-covered telescope at the South Pole, monitor the skies every night, none had ever been seen. Then, soon after Oumuamua appeared, an unexpected event occurred. They discovered another one. Gennady Borisov, an engineer and amateur astronomer, saw an object moving against the early sky on August 30th, 2019, from his own observatory in Nauchny, Crimea, while using a telescope he had built. At first glance, he could tell it was unique since it was moving in the opposite direction of the comets that reside in the main asteroid belt that spans the solar system. The Comet 2I Borisov, which was given its discoverer's name, is thought to be a rogue comet, or one that is not orbiting a particular star. So from where did these guests arrive? What do they know about extraterrestrial solar systems? And how frequently should we anticipate seeing them? Knowing their composition will aid in determining the answer. Although Oumuamua hasn't been categorized with certainty as a comet or an asteroid, it may be something else entirely. Scientists have long assumed that the majority of interstellar objects would fall into the first category. This would make sense since some of the comets that now reside in the outermost regions of our solar system may have been interstellar explorers before being captured by the sun's pull. However, most comets have tails, bright specks that trail behind them, which appear when they approach the sun and heat up, releasing the dust and gas that have been frozen inside of them. By this point, you may have figured that Oumuamua didn't. This was especially startling because its course led it well into the solar system, falling towards the sun and missing it by just 0.26 astronomical unit, or roughly 1/4 of the distance between the Earth and the sun. At first, researchers speculated that this would indicate that Oumuamua was indeed a rocky asteroid. More observations then started to emerge. They discovered that when it moved away from the sun, it had this acceleration. Everyone found this to be puzzling. It is completely typical for comets to speed up when they depart from a close encounter with the sun, but this is only because their tails are giving them a boost, much like a rocket's engine. That was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back for me, since, in addition to the sun's gravitational pull, something was also pushing it away. You needed around 1/10 of the mass of this object to vaporize in order to explain this push. One hypothesis was that the object might have been a hydrogen iceberg, a massive mass of frozen hydrogen, which might have created a tail invisible to us on Earth. But not everyone was persuaded. First off, hydrogen ice has never been observed in space, and according to Loeb and his colleagues, it couldn't possibly have remained cold enough for very long to create a big object like Oumuamua. It also appears implausible that it would have survived the many 100-million-year journey from the closest region of space expected to produce such things, given that its freezing point, -434 Fahrenheit, is only marginally above the average temperature of the universe. It would have crumbled after being cooked by starlight, as one commenter put it. The possibility that Oumuamua was created by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization emerged amid all the confusion. For one thing, SETI Institute researchers were intrigued enough to point a telescope at it and search for any possible radio signals. According to the alien technology theory, Oumuamua's mysterious solar push was created by sunlight reflecting off its surface, which would have to be thin, flat, and reflective, much like the wind moving a sail on a boat. Even though the object was quite bright for its size, Loeb notes that nature doesn't produce sails. According to Loeb, in September 2020, another object called 2020 SO experienced a surprising acceleration from the sun. It was discovered by the same telescope that discovered Oumuamua and was later identified as a rocket booster from the unsuccessful Surveyor 2 mission, which was launched in 1966 and attempted to land a spacecraft on the Moon. Although it was successfully launched into space, it rapidly lost contact and drifted aimlessly for several years. It possessed a flat, reflective surface similar to Loeb's imagined extraterrestrial light sail that could deflect light and move ahead. The fact that SETI ultimately came up empty-handed does not preclude the likelihood that Oumuamua belongs to a long-gone cosmic civilization, though. For starters, Loeb doubts that the Pluto-like planet that Oumuamua originated from would have had a surface area large enough for us to have detected a piece of it statistically credible. According to his team's calculations, it would take stars in the galaxy to have 100 times the mass of the Sun for us to observe a nitrogen iceberg that has been chipped off. Considering that Pluto's surface layer only makes up a small portion of the planet's overall size, he claims that this is absurd. However, if the notion is accurate, Oumuamua might have offered a unique peek at what lies in other solar systems. The planets that orbit other stars can currently only be observed indirectly, either by the amount of light that they block off as their silhouette passes in front of the stars, or through the way that their gravitational pull distorts light as they pass by. It's all due to the staggering distances at play. With current technology, it would take thousands of years to travel the 4.2 light-years to the nearest star, Proxima Centauri. A spaceship like the Voyager, which is now exploring outer space far outside of our solar system, would arrive in the year 75,100 if it left the Earth today. It is possible that Oumuamua was still a pristine chunk of its home planet, kept in the frigid vacuum of space for 500 million years, given that it was still very massive when it entered our solar system. It seems possible that before coming across our star, it had never directly encountered another star in all that period. It most likely traversed a large number of solar systems in a matter of light years, but it couldn't have endured another journey so close to our Sun. Particularly, Oumuamua's potential to identify as a frozen nitrogen iceberg raises the reassuring possibility that other solar systems resemble our own. The outer regions of other planetary systems were completely unknown prior to the discovery of Oumuamua, because the objects there are too far away to cast a discernible silhouette against their host star. Because they circle more frequently and obscure off more of the starlight, we only really know about the ones that are closer in. Since nitrogen is so common across the solar system, even it is news. However, it remained unclear whether it was widespread until Oumuamua. We have never had any type of direct control over that previously. Fortunately, 2I Borisov has proven to be far easier to understand than its cosmic twin. It is acknowledged as the first interstellar comet to be discovered. 2I Borisov is believed to have been made of a muddy mixture of water, dust, and carbon monoxide, similar to those persisting beyond the frontier of the solar system. It was more or less what scientists were anticipating and had a tail that was visible. In fact, 2I Borisov makes Oumuamua appear even more bizarre. The red dwarf star, the faintest and most prevalent kind in our galaxy, was the center of the old solar system where 2I Borisov is considered to have originated. One international team has made a rough estimate based on the object's speed and trajectory that it may have formed around the star Ross 573, which is now a white dwarf and is located around 629 trillion miles from the Sun. They hypothesize that it was sent into space following the cataclysmic collision of 3 significant astronomical objects about 900,000 years ago. However, 2I Borisov has been traveling for too long to be traced back to a single star system. Thus, we are unable to identify it. However, since Borisov resembles a solar system comet more than anything else, we would anticipate that it originated from its parent system's comet cloud, wherever that may be. While some scientists wonder how Oumuamua and 2I Borisov can be so dissimilar, others are investigating just how many more objects might exist that are similar to them. Even after Oumuamua was found, it remained unclear how rare or statistically unlikely its arrival was. For all anybody knew, it may have been a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. The possibility exists that the solar system is teeming with these stray pieces of the larger galaxy, which are so black that they only emerge when their route occurs to pass directly across the sun. Their suspicion has been mostly verified now that 2 interstellar travelers have been discovered. However, it is still very difficult to determine just how numerous these objects are and how frequently we may anticipate to observe them. Long before any interstellar objects were ever observed, in 2009, Loeb and colleagues made an early computation to determine our chances of discovering just one. They compared their estimate to the sensitivity of the largest telescope on Earth, after basing it on estimations about the density of stars in the Milky Way and the quantity of stuff each of them is ejecting into the larger cosmos. They came to the conclusion that there is a very small chance, between 1 in 1,000 and 1 in 100,000, that it will discover one during the course of its lifetime of looking. Scientists almost shouldn't have observed an object like Oumuamua because they should be so uncommon. Still, they did. One team estimated that there would be about 5 such-sized cosmic objects there at any given time in each 3-dimensional unit of space, with sides the length of the distance from the Earth to the Sun, based on its successful discovery. This shows that the galaxy's interstellar matter is much more dense than previously believed. It also suggests that these items are emitted throughout the whole lifespan of stars, rather than just being created by young solar systems as their planets are formed, as would be the case if they weren't so prevalent. There are already 50 interstellar objects in our solar system that are at least 50 meters across, according to a more recent study conducted after the finding of 2 I Borisov. This is important since not all extraterrestrial objects are as good as our most recent guests. Although it is widely believed that an item from our own solar system caused the collision that wiped out the dinosaurs, interstellar asteroids, and comets are expected to be particularly devastating since they move much more quickly than those that orbit our own sun. In either case, scientists are soon to learn the truth. A new observatory being built in Chile will have the kind of powerful technology needed to detect the faint glimmer of interstellar objects. Many astronomers are hopeful that it will discover the next extrasolar planet, known as Planet 9, as well as the next interstellar object. They need to see more objects like Oumuamua before they can properly analyze the statistics and determine how many of those kinds of objects there are. Loeb wants to see the scientific community have an open mind, despite the outcome, particularly if our third encounter with an interstellar object proves to be just as perplexing as Oumuamua. If we find something that we've never seen before, let's collect more data on it and figure out the nature of it, because then we will learn something new about the nurseries or the factories that make such objects, he says. Loeb agreed that there is no proof to support the theory that the unidentified planes are extraterrestrial probes. He claimed that he has no access to any classified information and that the DoD does not sponsor the Galileo Project. He claimed, however, that the fact that Kirkpatrick contacted him out of the blue implies that there is something out there they don't understand, and scientists could potentially help. When faced with an unknown, it is entirely appropriate to contemplate what your imagination enables you to think before receiving information that rules it in or rules it out, according to Loeb. According to the new abstract, the objects appear to violate the laws of physics since, at the speeds they are traveling at, experts would anticipate seeing a fireball, and the absence of such an indication suggests inaccurate distance measurements and hence derived velocity. The new study's goal is to get researchers to thoroughly investigate the objects before drawing any conclusions about whether the laws of physics are being violated. To understand what is in our universe, we would have to unlearn and relearn. Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you're still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos about space.